Hello, my name is Robin Tamanaha. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Orange County. So, today, what I'm going to talk about are some tips for caregivers, parents, or loved ones of those that are living with a diagnosis such as depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety, etc. So, these tips are specifically to prevent burnout. So, the first tip is don't let go of who you are or what your interests are. It's expected that the amount of time that you dedicate to your hobbies or your friends even will decrease, but it's important to still do them and still make time for them here and there. When someone is struggling with something that is stressful, or given the age sometimes of the person that has a diagnosis, it can take a lot of time and a lot of energy. But it's important to not be consumed by it and to be in it 24/7. So having little get-togethers or times when you do your own hobbies is very, very important. Another tip is it is helpful to meet others in the same boat. There's different ways of doing this. One is there's support groups like the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance. There's also NAMI. So the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, it is specific to depression and bipolar, not just for those who are living with the diagnoses, but also they do support groups for family members. And those groups are done in person in different cities throughout your county and also online. The nice part about online is if you're busy, because the support groups are specific to a certain day every week at a certain time. So online support groups are more convenient if you are more busy, or sometimes it's hard to meet others, like to meet with them in person. There are those that are maybe a little more introvert, or the thought of like meeting with a group of people is pretty nerve-wracking. So the nice thing about the online one is that you would just sign on to their website and you'll see like a video of the slides that they're gonna talk about, the support group support leader, and then you'd call in to a certain number so that you can be a part of it, in that it's your voice and you're just talking, but you're not like seeing each other. So sometimes that's a little more comforting for people. NAMI is more general. So that one, it is inclusive to all mental health diagnoses, and same thing where they do have supports for friends and family. Another way to meet people in the same boat is there are therapist-led things like therapist-led groups, as well as some therapists will do workshops and speakings. The nice part of the group is that it's not just talking with others and sharing your experience that way, but it's also learning things. Like there's a lot of education involved depending on what the topic is or what the diagnosis that's being talked about. So that's helpful. Therapists and sometimes even those in community will also do workshops or speakings about specific topics, whether it's at a community center like a church or school. There's different, or a hospital even. There's different places that therapists and community leaders can provide education. And then that's nice in the way in that maybe during like the break or before or after the speaking, if you feel comfortable meeting others in the audience and kind of getting to know others. And meeting people in the same boat is nice because you have a shared experience, like you have like a different type of connection with someone, and the understanding is different than maybe from like your friends and family, because they're in it with you. So that's helpful. Another tip is making time for yourself. So as humans, we do need times of solitude. And depending on your situation and what you're going through, the amount of time that you do need for yourself will be different than maybe someone else. So thinking about that, like, do you just need like 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the day to kind of like wind down, and that's going to be your time for yourself? Or are you finding that you may need a little longer, like maybe half a day, or maybe like a full day within a certain amount of time, like a full day once a month or every few weeks? It's important. It's an important way for you to just get back to yourself. And there may be others that could help you out with this, depending on the age of your loved one, and the support that you have around you. You know, maybe there's someone else that can watch the person or hang out with them, or are they old enough to where maybe they can be doing something else in the community, like a summer camp or, you know, something like that. So finding out what works for you and what other resources you have around you that will help you to get that bit of time for yourself. Another tip is getting outside. Even if it's like doing a light walk, there's a lot of benefits to walking in general, a lot of health benefits. There's it helps us process things. It promotes brain growth. It creates activity in the brain that can create a sense of calm. And the one that everyone usually knows about is it does promote happy hormones. And so there are a lot of health benefits, and for some, just being outside or being with nature in itself is centering and a nice like reset button. So maybe someone may not be very into walking, but they would be interested in like sitting outside on the porch, just kind of being outside with the sun, people watching or animal watching, whatever it is. And that's a way for them to be outside and to also get the benefits of doing that. So that's another tip. Another tip is I'm really big on life hacks. So life hacks are things that will help you increase your productivity in a short period of time. So if you look up like life hacks for traveling, like life hacks for cooking, it'll have different things, whether it's ways of like organizing things or things around the house that will just make whatever that task is faster and easier. Oftentimes people are more interested in like the more time consuming things or the things that like they're having to do all the time, which is usually like life hacks for cooking or life hacks for cleaning. So definitely Google that and check that out. Another tip is seeking reputable info. And what I mean by that is like anyone can create a YouTube or like an article, but knowing the source, especially if it's something that's like mental health or like medical or legal related, you know, it's important to know where the information is coming from. So when it comes to mental health, there's the organizations on mental health, like Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, like I had mentioned, NAMI. Online, they have a lot of resources and different informational tabs on their website. For Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, I know here in Orange County, they also have a resource center, and it's based out of St. Joseph Hospital in Orange, where you can go to if you want to like see things in person. Like I'm this way with books. Like I'd much rather have a book in my hands than an ebook on my tablet. So the resource center for Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance at St. Joseph Hospital, they have like 50 DVDs, like I think 70 something like books and like articles where you could just go there. And then you can also interact with the people working there that are usually volunteers. So that's one way of getting reputable info. Another is coming from the professional. So mental health, it'd be the therapist. So if you're getting information from a mental health professional, that means it is a valid source. And this is important because it really just, it'll decrease a lot of the confusion. There's a lot out there, especially when it comes to mental health, like misinformation or things that are just kind of like stigmatizing and stereotypes. So having the correct information from a really good, valid source can make all the difference. And sometimes just knowing the right information in itself can be very calming and reassuring, just knowing what's going on. So that's another one. Another tip is when it comes to your own necessities. I see this a lot, mainly when it's like someone is caregiving for like an older aging adult or maybe someone with certain limitations, but still rings true to mental health where the loved one or the parent or the caregiver will push their own necessities aside. And by necessities, I mean like doctor's appointments, dentists, like certain things that are also important for your own health and your own well-being. Um, physicals are what, like once a year. It's important to really still do those things, because taking care of yourself and having yourself like on track makes all the difference too when you're when you're taking care of someone else. So keeping that in mind, not neglecting your own needs and things that are really, really important for your overall well-being. So, little disclaimer, this is in no way a substitute or a replacement for therapy. If you are seeking therapy, definitely do a Google search for those in your area. If you would like resources, definitely check out the organizations that I mentioned, or doing like a little Google search for maybe workshops or speakings that are going on in your area. If the person that you're with is in a medical like or mental health emergency, definitely taking them to the local emergency room or calling 911 for immediate assistance. So hopefully this was helpful. This is probably more of a part one. This is definitely more logistical fundamentals, whereas I'll do another one that's a little more fun in the future. So thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.